Hi guys, it's Drea. I'm finally doing the favorite shade in the palette. I don't know if it's a tag. I know it's just an idea that was created and going around YouTube. I've seen a lot of my friends on YouTube do this and I really want to get in on the action. I remember doing, what was it? My least used shades in the palette, which was created by Lisa Stevens, but this is a little bit different. So this is favorite shade in the palette. I first saw this on Elle's channel. I'll link to that video, but I know she didn't create it. It was somebody else. I'm sorry, I don't remember who, but I will link to their channel as well down in the description bar. I always encourage you, I know we always say, I'll link to them, but you know what? Why not go check out somebody new? You never know, you might really enjoy their channel. So whenever you like the idea, it's a good idea to go check out the creator's video because you might actually fall in love with another creator. Anyways, okay, so let's get into this video. I have here, I don't know like what the rhyme or reason to picking these is, like the palettes that we're going to show. I just picked out like palettes that I know I have favorites in. So I have a handful here and let's just get into it. Okay, let's start out with what I put on my eyes today. This is the Sephora Pro Editorial palette. This palette is still available, like you can still purchase it, but it is limited edition, so I don't know how long it's going to stick around for, but it's been around for like a year now. Anyways, this is a very, very colorful palette, mixture of different textures. There's lots of mattes in here, there's some duochromes, there's some metallics, there's some glitters. Like there's a lot going on in this palette. And I love this palette. It's super colorful. I haven't like fully thought about every single shade that I'm going to show you. This is a little bit of instinct that we're doing here. But I did kind of think about this because when I was putting it on my eyes today, I really wanted to use my favorite shade. And when I look at this palette, I mean, it's no secret that I'm a big fan of purples. So it really has to be the deepest purple in the palette, which is right here. These are kind of tied in a way because they are very similar, but this shade here, this deep purple shade, is a really nice matte purple, and it's really hard to do matte purple really well, and I think this one is pretty good. Now, I did kind of blend it into my crease with kind of the pink and the lighter purple, so it does end up looking a little bit more pink than it actually swatches here, but if I were to use this shade by itself, this is how it would actually look. It might be a theme. If there's a purple in a palette, likely it'll be my favorite. All right, let's move on to this one. This is the Natasha Denona Green Brown palette, and this one is just like it says, lots of greens and browns, and my favorite is a green, and I think it has to be this one. Every time I reach for this and I actually do an eye look with it, I mean, I think you can tell kind of by how messy this is which shades I reach for the most. This is usually my kind of all over the lid shade when I am doing a look with this palette, and it's beautiful. And now that I've swatched these together, I kind of want to put both those shades together. Like, look how gorgeous those are. All right, I also have another Natasha Denona palette. It's the Lila palette here, which is the purple palette. I don't honestly see myself buying more big Natasha Denona palettes in the future, again just because of the price tag, but I had to buy this one when it came out. Like, look at it, it's just all purples, it's just so beautiful. The tragic thing about purple, and I don't know why this is a theme in photography, and maybe photographers can tell me, but purple does not always translate in real life onto video. I don't know why. Like, I'm looking at my monitor right now, this looks blue, but it's not. That's a deep, deep purple, and that is my favorite shade. So unfortunately, I don't know that we're gonna be able to see it exactly. It's just this weird thing that happens with purple on camera. Yeah, it doesn't really look that way, it looks blue. But that is my favorite. I really like it for like deepening up the outer V when I'm doing a look with this palette. Here's a non-purple palette. This is the Colourpop Yes Please palette. This is one of my favorites. It's gorgeous, especially in the summertime. So this is one of those palettes that I haven't really thought yet about which one my favorite is. But going on instinct, I have to tell you that every time I want to wear this palette, I find a way to use that yellow. And I do love like this transition shade. I love this for warming up the crease. The red I've used many times. The gold is nice all over the lid, but it does kind of wear away. That's maybe, I don't want to call it a dud shadow, but it's definitely not the most long lasting in this palette. But no matter what eye look I do, I always find a way to work this yellow in, and it's so pretty. It's just this bright matte yellow shade. So gorgeous. It's just nice for even if you're not going to do anything crazy with it. Like I have put it, actually, see where this shimmery shade is on my lid today? Like I've done a similar look with these colors in here, like just, you know, different, the same placement but different shades, and I put that yellow like all over the inner third, and it looks beautiful just as a matte shade. But I find a way to use that even if it's just like barely touching the transition line, just to kind of like give that hint of yellow. It's so pretty. I've talked about this a ton this summer, the Beige Cosmetics Weekend Festival palette. This has been the palette of the summer for me. It's so beautiful, it's so fun, it's so bright, it's so vibrant, it's so like my vibes. And in here there's so many beautiful shades. This palette, it's tough. It's tough to pick a favorite shade out of this one because I really love the purple and the blue. I really love the matte purple and the orange. And I also think like the bright pink is really nice too. If I have to pick a favorite, see, I told you I did not prepare for this totally. It has to be between the metallic purple and blue. So I'm just going to swatch them both. That way you can see them both and I can decide. Oh my god, they're so nice. Oh. Okay, I think maybe in this case I actually have to go with the blue. I'm not the biggest fan of blue eyeshadow, but I do love turquoise. Like, and I did do a tutorial. I'm pretty sure I used this color. This was the metallic blue I used in that tutorial. And it's so summery, and it's so beautiful, and it's so vibrant, and like these shadows show up. And that's the thing about Beige Cosmetics that people don't understand, is like how it's so cheap and yet these shades show up so intensely, so beautifully. Like the metallics, the mattes, everything, they're so awesome. So yeah, I think I have to choose the blue for this one. And by the way, that blue is called Ultimate. Alright, I bit myself so hard there. I don't know what came over me. Alright, let's go with a classic. The Modern Renaissance palette from Anastasia. So this is a well-loved palette. I think you can see I have pan on 5 shades in here. There is pan on this one. I know it's so tiny, baby pan, but you can actually see it. Okay, this might sound kind of silly, but my favorite is actually Bon Fresco, which is weird. And actually I just watched Elle's video, her least favorite shade in the palette, and that's her least favorite shade in this palette. And it's my favorite. I have a lot of pan on that shade, and I know it's cool toned, and this is a really warm tone palette, but I really still like it. Like, it's a very unique color. It's this cool tone matte, like grayish purple right there. And it's so good as like a transition shade for almost any look I do. Even if I'm using warm tone shades, I will still use that a lot. Like, I will definitely use burnt orange in the crease. I'll use golden ochre. Obviously there's a lot of pan on that one. And I don't know though, the Bon Fresco one, there's just something really interesting about it, especially when you look at it next to these shades right here. Like, if this was a quad, if some high-end company sold this as a quad, there would be nothing wrong with that. Those colors go so well together. So even though it is a cool tone shade, I still think it works with so much in this palette. So it is probably my favorite. Like, I know a lot of people like the shimmery shades like Primavera and Vermeer, but I don't know, they're just a bit basic for me. So there's something about this is a little bit more unique. All right, in the Too Faced Chocolate Bonbons palette, first of all, every time I open these, they just, that scent, oh, there's nothing like it. It's so great. All right, this is what this palette looks like. It's very, very neutral, very boring in some ways, but it does have some really good pops of color. I have used the pinks in here, but I love this purple. Now, this purple is very deep, and it's not really a standout vibrant purple, but it has like, it's almost a purple brown. It's very, very weird that way. It's very dark, and it has a little bit of micro glitter in it. And I've used this all over the lid and done like very smoky look with it, and I love it. I actually did a tutorial with that, I think last year. But you can see it looks purple in the pan, but it actually looks a little bit more like deep brown when you actually put it on. So, but that is my favorite shadow in here. Why do I have so much saliva today? I don't know what the hell is wrong with me. Okay, and also shout out to this color here, Satin Sheets. This is beautiful. I'm running out of space. I need to remove these swatches. Look at this. That is such a gorgeous highlighting shade, all over the lid shade. Like, that is so beautiful. They did really well with that shade, especially making it a big pan. And also, like, it's nice that they made a big pan of the matte shadow there. I don't use this a ton. I still love it. I used it a lot when I first got it. Never hit pan on any shadows in it. But I do like it. I like to bust it out every once in a while. All right, here's a palette that created some buzz when it first launched. So much buzz that they actually made it from a limited edition palette into a permanent palette. You can get this now all the time. This is the Colored Raine Queen of Hearts palette. It has a sleeve. It'd be nice if that was the actual packaging, but it's not. This has gold like all over the inside, so it's a little bit weird on camera. Okay, in this palette, we have beautiful, deep, rich, like warm. These are warm, 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 warm shades. And this is another one I haven't fully thought about what my favorite is. It's actually not the purple. This purple here is very deep and like very dark metallic. I don't know. It's not a favorite of mine, surprisingly. Also, these are super pigmented. Like, you can't see any use on that orange, and I use it almost every time that I use this palette. I do use this a lot. Royal Highness. I think this is probably it. This is like a cool taupey, purpley, but definitely more taupe shade. That's really gorgeous all over the lid. But I really love the purple and the orange and how they like just look at those mattes. Like, really? All right, you know what? When I swatch this now, I think this is dried out. I don't remember it being like so patchy the last time I used this, which by the way was a long time ago. I haven't used this in a while. It needs to be busted out. Yeah, so it's definitely not that. I remember that being a lot more, I don't know, intense. So I think it definitely is going to be this one here. But that orange, man, that's so beautiful. So that is Royal Highness, that really beautiful metallic purpley taupe shade. Okay, now interestingly enough, I came across this brand last year in Winners, which is just like TJ Maxx, and it's Klara Cosmetics. I've never seen them anywhere but in Winners, and you can buy them online. But look at this palette. Isn't that like just like almost the same as the Queen of Hearts? There's a few less shades in here, but the vibe is identical. Like, look at the orange, look at these metallics, look at that like burgundy. I love this. These are huge pans though. Like, there's no way you would ever need this much eyeshadow. Like, it's crazy. And the metallics in here are really thick, like really intense. By the way, I'll say this, my favorite shade is never going to be a shade like this. This kind of golden shade. This just doesn't look good on me. I don't know what it is. It doesn't look good on my lid. I've tried it so many times, and anytime I see myself with like gold all over my lid, I'm like, no, I don't like that look on me. So that will never be my favorite shade. I really love this kind of like muted purple plum, but I really love this orange. So in this palette, for sure, it is the orange. I do like the metallics. I don't think there's anything as special as Royal Highness, but look at that orange. Like, come on now. That's amazing. Here's a palette that I bought last year from MAC. This is the Basic Bitch palette. They came out with these girls palettes. They're all different. They'll have a theme. I don't know if this one is still available or not, if it's part of the permanent line. I can't remember. But literally, swatching these in store, I bought this palette because of these two shades on the end. So these shades are called Sly Girl and Tattletale. Yeah, the only reason I bought this, and the only shades that I ever use when I use this palette, are these two. And they're just so beautiful. So this one is much more of a dark silver metallic, but it definitely has a component of purple in it. And this one is bright white lilac. It's so gorgeous. They look so pretty together. But I have to say, I think that this one here, which was Sly Girl, is my favorite out of the two, only because this one can be slightly patchy. And I did start developing a little bit of hard pan on this one here. And I think that's because I liked to try to use it wet, and it didn't really work. So it's now a little bit weird, but I think I would just use my finger to apply it. It's still beautiful, it still works, but this one is just amazing. I just realized this whole time I was gonna put on lipstick like before I started filming. I even took the pictures of the thumbnail and I forgot to put on lipstick. Have not been wearing any lipstick this entire time. All right, my battery died, so angle's a little different. Okay, next, I only have a couple left. So next is the Colourpop My Little Pony palette. So this one here is really, again, vibrant, fun. I think it leans a little bit more towards like fall time though, because of like the green, and then the pinks are a little bit deeper and it has the black in there and all that. But again, my favorite shade in this palette is the purple, which is called Sky Dancer. And this one is like this really beautiful kind of pale lilac, but it still has like this, I don't know, it has like this, you can still tell it's purple. It's not like too light of a lilac where it's like almost gray or silver. It's still like very purple, but I love this color. So for the first half of this year, I was using this NARS Loaded palette as my makeup use up palette, and so that's what this looks like at this point in time. I only have pan on this shade here, but I have a lot of dips in like kind of these ones over here. So when I first bought this palette, I remember swatching it and I remember like literally my breath being taken away by this shade right here. And this shade is called Splendor, and it's this beautiful taupe, like gorgeous, gorgeous, intense metallic taupe. I really love this color. It's not a shade that I wear a lot. Like I don't tend to wear taupe on my lid a ton, but when I do, like this is the perfect taupe. It really is. It's so pretty. It's definitely like more like gunmetal. It's a little bit deeper. Okay, and lastly, I bet you were wondering when this would show up. This is the Beige Cosmetics 28 Pan Foil Eyes. And in here, again, the purples. And for me, this is the one palette where I can't pick one. I have to pick three. So it's actually these here. So this one here and those two. This is definitely a lighter lilac, a more like deep, intense purple, and then a more bright, vibrant fuchsia. And again, it sucks because I don't think these are coming across exactly like I want them to on the camera. I hope that you can at least get a sense and a feeling for what they look like. So again, this is definitely the most purple out of all of them. Like it's very vibrant fuchsia undertone. And then this has like the kind of purpley blue component. And then this is definitely a little bit lighter than that, even that My Little Pony lilac was, but it's still purple. These are so gorgeous. I've talked about this palette so many times. It's just wonderful, and like the price tag is mind-blowing considering what you get here, because these are all really amazing quality metallic eyeshadows, and I just enjoy using this palette so much. And I have used these purples so much, and they just blow my mind every time, and I just love the looks that I can make out of this palette. So that is it for my most favorite shades in these palettes. Let me know if you would like a part 2. I still have some other palettes in my collection that I didn't include in this video. But that is it for today. Definitely subscribe if you're new around here. I'd love to have you as part of the family, and I hope you're having a wonderful day. I hope that you're speaking kindly to yourself, treating yourself well, especially when you look in the mirror. I love you guys. I will see you in my next video. Bye.